I am Pious, kojo Backah. A look at our stories now. Increment in food prices, housing, electricity and fuel pushed the inflation rate for the month of October to 40.4%, up from 37.2% recorded in September this year. Addressing the media, government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim explained that all items in a component for calculating the rate of inflation recorded an increase. The following report has more.
This means cost of credit is expected to go up further as the Bank of Ghana is set to take a decision on the policy rate, the rate at which it lends to commercial banks. The food inflation recorded the highest rate among all the components as against non-food inflation, according to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service. Almost all 307 items used in measuring inflation figures recorded an increase for the period of October. Here is government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim explaining the rate of inflation.
Consumer Price Index for the month of October 2022 stood at 144.4% relative to 102.9% that was recorded for the same period, October 2021. Given these two indices, year-on-year inflation for the month of October 2022 stood at 40.4%, indicating a 3.2 percentage point difference between the year-on-year inflation that was recorded for the month of September 2022, which stood at 37.2%. From a food and non-food perspective, we see a sharp increase in food inflation of about 5.9%. Year-on-year inflation between September 2022 and October 2022, with a rate of October 2022 43.7% relative to 37.8% that was recorded for September 2022.
In the regional division, the Eastern region recorded the highest rate of inflation at more than 51%, whilst Volta region recorded the least with 25.8%. Professor Enim explains the regional breakdown and the contribution of the Greater Accra region in the overall rate.
Comparing the region with the highest rate of inflation and the region with the lowest rate of inflation, we see a difference of about two times rate of inflation between these two regions, as Eastern region recorded a rate of inflation of 51.1% and Volta region 25.8%. Looking at the regional shares, keeping in mind that Eastern region recorded the highest rate of inflation, with a weight of close to a third for Greater Accra region. Greater Accra region contributed more than a third to the overall inflation that was recorded in October 2022. Specifically, Greater Accra region contributed 34.7% of the 40.4% inflation that was recorded for the month of October 2022.
Month-on-month inflation between September and October was 2.7%.
Well, our news team was at the Malamata market to interact with some traders.
So we are currently in the Malamata market. Guess what we are doing? We are checking why palm oil particularly seems to be joining the big leagues in terms of those driving Ghana's inflation. A 40.4% inflation for the month of October, a record high in a very long time. But why exactly? Given that red oil mainly is produced in Ghana. We are here in the market to assess the drivers of such an inflation and why the market prices seem to have changed rapidly over time. I have here this lady who deals with this. Rita, okay. Rita, last year, now, what saying? And this year, no, on the sense of count. And it would also man watch me.
14 cities. Last year, 14 cities. But this year, 60 cities. It's too much.
Last year, 14.
14 cities.
But this year, 60 cities.
60 cities.
Now, so we get to our win. So,
40 crowd.
7
cities. We recently Ghana 7 cities.
Ketwana one 7 Ghana cities.
And I will try 6 cities.
But Sisia we no Sisia saying
20 cities.
Wow, and about
and I will see 15 cities.
Wow, so you just heard from there. Given last year's prices, the prices for 2021, this one in this big bottle she tells me was 14 Ghana cities, but now it's 60 Ghana cities. more than 40 Ghana cedis more just to buy this in a space of 10 months. This small one here, she tells me, was 7 Ghana cedis last year, but now 20 Ghana cedis. The least you could be getting is this. Where are you saying?
This year, 15 cedis.
Component of transport?
This year, the palm, this oil, they manufacture it from Ghana here. Okay. So we don't. It's supposed not to be expensive. Yeah, but they have to bring it down. It's too much.
Okay. So the Minister for Agric says in Parliament that it is one, you sellers trying to profiteer from the ordinary citizen, and then secondly, the cost of transportation. Do you side with them on these two issues?
Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes when they increase the oil, if you go and buy it, because they had it, so they have to increase it more before they will go and buy it. Do you understand me?
Yeah. So you people just want to benefit from us?
It's not all of us. It's some of us, we are God-fearing people. We can't do that. But some people, they are able to do it.
I see. And Minister, they say, obe movie ni amane free cross one aban cry.
Petro no antiso. Na nyaman so embra form. If say na petro ni board no ba kon to be go to adi village. No car charge no dey ba na beto adi fufu. Enye possible. Nti antiso petro ni so na nyaman so embra form. And no na wo ma dwe no
na yes mo so mo na pesa mo nya sika wo situation because amani mo eden e na mo di bi kan ho amon dwen yo
ye kan ho ye fa bibi anka ade ho efisa ade no se na me kan esa efisa no pa kono be bia me kire se petro na ne board amanyama ne nyina akosoro se petro ni ba fo nyama ne nyina be ba fom enti me so ma dwena me kire se omo nti petro ni so na nyama ne mbra fom ama kwasifo so omo bibia we
millet no we enti millet no aha enti millet no na first wo ton the same
Olonka na.
Olonka church munti last year na woton millet no saying and as you see woton the saying.
Na 15. And as you say 22 cedis.
Olonka no patch we.
There be kase.
Kase no. Odi kase no 15. But you see no last year and as you see woton the saying.
22 cedis.
22 Ghana cedis. What the 7 cedis in Kwana Kaso?
When so na 12 cedis say 25.
25 cedis.
No say millet.
I see. But I didn't what price. We said also 7 cedis on that can.
Me pa cho say ko fa ko lot fan.
My colleague Papani Ashali interacting with some traders at Malamata Market on the back of the increase in inflation for the month of October. Meanwhile, research lead at GCB Capital Courage Boti says Ghanaians should brace for worse inflation rates in the coming months because the underlying threats of inflation still persist.
All of what the analysis in the past as to whether you think to know it's of course all other factors were held constant. But between that time and now, when you saw in the June, July area, when you saw inflation looking like it's about peaking and the month-to-month trend shows some sustained decline, you would assume that if that trend continues, then we should see inflation peak and start decelerating around this fourth quarter period. But what we did not envisage around that time is that we would have more than 27% depreciation in the cedi in a single month and then continuing. What we did not expect was that there would be some 60% hike in petroleum prices at the pump in just one pricing window. What you did not also anticipate is that food harvest will turn out not to impact food prices in general after all. And so there are a lot of exogenous factors. And for this particular period, you are seeing increased rates of deficit monetization from the central bank, which is in itself inflationary. Last Monday, a 2-year bond matured, 2.3 billion face value. There was no rollover, so those maturities would have been refinanced or would have been paid off using central bank financing. That liquidity injected into the system would actually prove inflationary, really. And I guess it's the reason the Bank of Ghana sustained the policy rate hike to mop up some of those excess liquidity. So if you have the instance where you could not have predicted, but the Bank of Ghana is financing the deficit, you have instance where petroleum prices are surging at the pump. You have the instance where CD has depreciated by almost 60% year to date. Obviously, inflation will go out of hand, and that is what we are seeing. You see the month-to-month trend from last month, it was about 2.7. For the month of October, it's 2.0. For the month of October, it's coming 2.7 really. And so it tells you that the underlying pressures to inflation are still there, and so the upward track will continue for a while.
Economist Courage Buti speaking there. Now, moving away from that, economist Dr. Emmanuel Kuma is proposing the composition of a robust, localized, independent body that will ensure the strict adherence to fiscal discipline post-COVID IMF recommendation. According to him, since Ghana entered into an agreement with the fund some years ago, history shows that the country has not been able to maintain fiscal discipline after exiting the fund. His call is coming at a time Ghana has entered an agreement with the IMF for the 17th time for a bailout. Economist Dr. Emmanuel Kuma spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting held in Accra.
I think it's a very important question that you pose. I think that there are, we can look at other countries. Is the Council of Economic Advice in the U.S. is an example, or National Bureau of Economic Research, or Monitoring Committee. I think that these ideas, I don't have the answers, but all I can tell you is that the fact that we had these problems suggests that somehow we're not able to monitor and implement carefully. So where it should be situated is not the issue. The key thing is to embed it with power to be able to enforce the programs that post-IMF we decide to implement. And I like your question. Can it be done in our country with our culture? Listen, look at other countries, Singapore, Mauritius, other countries. Why are they financial discipline? I think that we can learn. I think this is the beginning of the conversation. I throw out these ideas. Let's have an institution with power in the country, outside government, to be able, maybe with private sector, a lot of private sector participation, to make sure that it works.
Now, the government's quest to reduce prices of petroleum products at the pumps has again been questioned by some operators after the National Petroleum Authority directed players to increase primary distribution margin by 6 pesos effective November 1. My colleague George Yaffe has more.
National Petroleum Authority in an email to the oil marketing companies and other players directed them to increase their primary distributors margin from 7 pesos on a price build-up to 13 pesos per litre on diesel and petrol. It also covered other petroleum products on the market. The authority in the email maintained that this is in line with the current economic conditions, hence the increase. The margin takes care of the cost of transporting petroleum products to other depots in the country. Now, this meant that you paid 6 pesos more for fuel last week Tuesday, when this was not due to the city's depreciation as well as the cost of importing finished petroleum products. Some of the oil marketing companies have told Joy Business that prices could have gone down if it hadn't been this margin review. For some of these players, at the time that government is looking for cheaper sources of petroleum products to reduce prices at the pumps locally, they find this move by the state as interesting. Some have also argued that why can't government use the windfall from crude oil revenue to finance the shortfall with some of these margins? This is because of the impact of an increase in fuel prices on inflation and the broader economy.
You're still watching Prime Business with me, Pious, kojo Backah. Now, shareholders of the Nara Rural Bank based in the Upper East region want the bank to pay more attention to granting facilities to local businesses. The shareholders believe that considering the economic hardship, the bank would help businesses thrive, and this would go a long way to also improve the fortunes of the bank. The shareholders have been speaking at the 31st annual general meeting of the Nara Rural Bank held at Navrongo in the Upper East region. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Nara Rural Bank Limited prides itself as the bank of the ordinary business person. The bank is currently headquartered at Backah in the Kassena-Nankana West District and has 7 branches located in 5 districts of the Upper East region. This year's annual general meeting of shareholders of the Nara Rural Bank was the 31st in the series. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the bank, Reverend Joseph Tabase, said the bank's performance in the year under review showed that there was goodwill from its customers and shareholders.
The bank is doing well. We really made a profit over 497,000. And there is goodwill, confidence and trust on the part of our customers and shareholders. And that is why you can see the massive attendance in this year's general meeting. In actual fact, we have over 1,000 shareholders. Nara is 41 years now, and it is the first rural bank in northern Ghana, a very resilient and robust bank that has stood the test of time. And with the new reforms in the banking sector, Nara continues to be the community bank for the community.
He said he believed there was room for improvement in the coming years.
If we are able to grow to the level that it can become a regional or a national bank, then we will indeed appreciate that. Vision is to see how we can be part of the Club 100 companies in Ghana. Yes, we are doing well in the savings, in all aspects of the bank's products, and what we need to understand is that there is the need to do more. There's the need to help in the socio-economic activities of our people.
Shareholders of the Nara Rural Bank Limited want the bank to do more to support local businesses to thrive, especially in the wake of the current economic crisis in the country.
Moving on to some other stories, the quality of goods and services provided by artisans and craftsmen in Ghana has been substandard and unsatisfactory, to the point where it has become generally accepted. The Design Technology Institute, in collaboration with Multimedia Ghana, has signed an MOU that will initiate the change we seek through awareness creation for the adoption of precision quality by academia, master craftspersons, and artisans to enhance world-class production. Founder of Design Technology Institute, Constance Swanika, is sure that this innovative project will bring about the growth mindset that will ensure the realization of precision quality. Lois Tay has more in this report.
From welding to coding, precision quality is needed everywhere. This means that the production of goods and services rendered must be done with precision and a quality mindset in order to meet global standards. This is what the Design Technology Institute, in partnership with Multimedia Group Limited, seeks to achieve.
MOU, the signing of the MOU with Multimedia today is to begin a 6-month advocacy around the need for Ghanaians to have a precision quality mindset, a mindset shift of learning how to do things properly. And this cuts across all goods and services. This then would push local production to begin to look at the way we do things, the way we finish things, the way we package things, and the way we even do everything, having a mindset of integrity, that doing the right thing even when nobody is watching you.
Founder and CEO of DTI, Constance Swanika, says she believes that the idea of quality precision has to do with the mindset. This collaboration is centered on creating awareness and advocating the adoption of precision quality by academia, industry, artisans, and master craft persons to enhance their outputs.
From a precision quality is a mindset. And having worked with artisans who really didn't understand standards, not also understanding that you are working with customers who have certain expectations of why they're paying for goods and services.
Ms. Swanika is confident that the Precision Quality Project will be effective in helping people embrace the growth mindset that is needed to facilitate change.
This is where you refuse to change because you have a fixed mindset. And so precision quality is all about having a growth mindset that change is constant. It's not constant, but you have to have this teachable and learning spirit that industry changes so rapidly that consumers also have changing demands and needs. And so it can't be, because it's been done like this for so many years, it's acceptable. It's not acceptable.
General Manager Abdullahi Audu of Multimedia assured all stakeholders of the company's commitment to the precision quality project.
And we will really push, because for us it is important that if we have to take our place, in the world as a country, we have to just up our game. Once we get precision right, we'll be up there.
The partners in this agreement, DTI and the Multimedia Group, believe this project will surely transform lives. A report by Lois Tay read to you.
And that's all in this package by way of Prime Business with me, Pious. Kojo Backah. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business.